I think to talk about this story, you have to talk about the crime scene and what happened there. This was a violent death, absolutely violent. And think about the scene here. We're talking about a family member accused of doing this, someone who perhaps you could have some level of trust with, someone she was sharing a room with, but to be sexually assaulted and then strangled to death, knowing that you're fighting for your life, you're fighting for your breath. This is as personal and as violent as it gets. We deal with gunshot wound cases all the time. Sometimes people know it's coming, sometimes they don't. And it's instantaneous. But think about the allegations here and what Anna Kepner went through as a 19-year-old young woman. First of all, being sexually assaulted, absolutely horrific. But I think as that's happening, you're not thinking that you're going to die as a result of that until those hands are around your neck and you're fighting for every breath. You have to understand that because that's such a big part of this case and the decisions that we're going to talk about here as to whether or not Timothy Hudson should be walking free. This crime scene was contained. And there's two parts of that are so significant. The first being, she has no escape. There is nowhere to go. There is no help coming. You are trapped. You are trapped inside of this very small room. No one's going to hear your screams. No one's going to be there to help you. The other part of this contained crime scene is the evidence, the forensic evidence. And it begins, of course, with Anna Kepner and the evidence that prosecutors were able to get from her, unfortunately, her remains. But that evidence is powerful and strong because it's preserved in this contained crime scene where she was found relatively quickly. Too many times we cover cases where someone is murdered and they're missing and they're not found for days, weeks, or months, and evidence dissipates. That's not the case here. Not at all. So what helped are the lab results. This is some of the forensic evidence. Swab number 4, a swab from inside the vaginal canal, tested positive for male sperm in addition to the victim's own DNA. So that's swab number 4. I'm circling swab 4. Swab number 5, a second DNA swab of the victim's vaginal canal, were negative for sperm, but did test positive for male DNA. Okay? In addition to the victim's own DNA. Based on these preliminary results, the FBI obtained a search warrant for Timothy's DNA. DNA swabs were also obtained from a minor who lives out of state with whom the victim had sexual intercourse while on the cruise. Okay, that's a significant fact. She engaged in sexual conduct with another person on the ship. That person needs to be investigated as well, right? As part of what the FBI was doing here. Swab number 4, the one that tested positive for sperm, minor witness 2, was excluded as a contributor. The results from this item had very strong support for the inclusion of Timothy as the contributor of the male DNA in the mixture. Swab 5 came back negative for sperm, but positive for male DNA. Minor witness 2 was excluded. The results from this item had very strong support for the inclusion of Timothy. So what's the evidence we have here, folks? Yes, she engaged in sexual activity with someone else that was on the ship. But we tested the DNA that was found. He was excluded. You know who was included, ladies and gentlemen? The defendant. So how do you defend Timothy Hudson under these circumstances? There is some powerful prosecution evidence, the timeline, the video surveillance, and everything else. Well, I think the approach is going to be twofold. You have to deal with each of the very serious charges. And let's begin with the sexual assault charge, right? Prosecution's basis is that there was some level of obsession by Timothy Hudson with his stepsister, that he was obsessed with her. And I think for the public, for a lot of us, we believe that to a certain extent based upon what we heard from Anna Kepner's ex-boyfriend, who, what I'm going to show you is from the Space Coast rocket. It was the memorial for Anna Kepner, and he was speaking outside to members of the media and members of the public about what he knew and his own experience in witnessing conduct by the stepbrother, Timothy Hudson. Take a listen.
From what you know, what do you think happened to him?
I think that he walked in there and basically we walked in there and tried to get on top of her and tried to do a sexual thing with her, but he got caught by me in the process of it.
Thank you further.
Yeah. And she got scared of it and had to go sleep over with friends, and whenever she could at mine, but she never could because her stepmom was very controlling of it. And I got that, but I was like, her stepbrother is trying to go on top of her in the middle of the night, and they didn't believe me. So.
Hold it right there for a second.
Do you think this could have been prevented?
I just want to give you a little context. He's describing something that happened months before what happened on this cruise ship. He is FaceTiming Anna, his girlfriend at the time. And the FaceTime is still on. It's early morning hours. And Anna, I think, is falling asleep, but he's still watching. I guess he's watching her sleep. And then he says he sees Timothy Hudson jump on top of Anna, not knowing that the FaceTime was still going on. And this is what he's describing. This is what he says he witnessed. Let's listen to more.
What type of person was she?
She was a great woman, I met her at school.
And the circumstances behind her death, you find them to be suspicious? And if so, tell me why.
It was suspicious because I knew that the brother did it, and yeah.
How do you know that?
Because of the past things that happened with him, like I was saying.
Which were what?
About the FaceTime and stuff.
What's the FaceTime?
Whenever I was on FaceTime with her, and when I was on FaceTime with her, and she was laying down, and the brother tried to go on top of her, and
you saw that?
Yeah. And then,
how did she react to it?
I was like, "What the hell are you doing in the room?" Then he got scared and like ran away, and I heard his footsteps like running through the house, because he got caught.